Part 5. The Call. A Generation of Clear Voices. Chapter 14. The Rise of Clear Communicators. Every generation is shaped by the voices it listens to. Not just the loudest voices, but the clearest ones. The ones that can take what is complex and make it understandable. The ones that can carry truth in a way that can be received. The ones that do not only speak but are understood. This is what defines influence over time, and this is what is needed now. We are living in a time where there is no shortage of voices, yet there is shortage of clarity. Many are speaking, many are creating, many are leading, but few are truly being understood. Not because people are unwilling to listen, but because what is being communicated is not clear enough to follow. This is the gap. And within this gap, there is a call for a different kind of communicator. The rise of clear communicators is not only about increasing volume, it is about increasing understanding. It is about people who are willing to take responsibility for how their message is received. People who are not satisfied with being heard, but are committed to being understood. This requires a shift in mindset, from expression to translation, from complexity to clarity, from noise to meaning. It requires the recognition that communication is not complete until understanding is achieved. This call is not limited to one group. It extends to evangelists, creators, and leaders. Each in their own way carries something that must be communicated. Each operates in a space where clarity determines impact, and each has a role to play in reducing confusion and increasing understanding. For the evangelist, clarity is essential. The message being carried is not ordinary. It is truth that has the power to transform lives. But that transformation can only take place if the message is understood. It is not enough to speak passionately. It must also be spoken clearly, because people cannot respond to what they do not understand. This means removing unnecessary complexity. It means explaining truth in ways that can be grasped. It means ensuring that what is being communicated can be received. This is not a reduction of the message. It is the proper expression of it. For the creator, clarity defines connection. Creation is not only about producing something. It is about communicating something. Every piece of content carries a message, whether intentional or not. If that message is unclear, the creation loses its impact. This is why creators must move beyond output and focus on understanding. Not just what they are creating, but how it is being received. Clarity allows creation to connect. It ensures that what is being produced is not only seen, but understood. For the leader, clarity determines alignment. Leadership is not only about vision, it is about making that vision clear to others. If people cannot understand the direction, they cannot follow it effectively. If they cannot follow it, the organization becomes fragmented. Clarity brings unity. It ensures that everyone is moving in the same direction, with the same understanding. This is what allows vision to become reality. The rise of clear communicators requires intentionality. It requires choosing clarity over appearance, understanding over impression, substance over noise. It requires slowing down enough to think clearly, to structure ideas, to refine communication. This is not always easy in a world that rewards speed and volume, but it is necessary, because clarity is what creates lasting impacts. There is also a need for courage. To be clear is to be exposed. It removes the protection that complexity provides. It makes your message visible and therefore open to response. But this is part of the responsibility. Clarity does not hide, it reveals. And in revealing, it creates the opportunity for understanding. This is the beginning of a shift from a generation that speaks constantly to a generation that communicates clearly, from a culture of noise to a culture of understanding. This shift does not happen automatically. It happens through individuals who choose to communicate differently, who choose to take responsibility for clarity. Take a moment to consider your role. Where have you been called to communicate? What message have you been entrusted with? And how clearly are you expressing it? These questions are not theoretical, they are practical. Because the need for clarity is present in every space where communication takes place. The rise of clear communicators is not about recognition, it is about responsibility. It is about ensuring that what is meaningful is not lost, that what is true is not misunderstood, that what is valuable is not overlooked. This is the call to speak clearly, to think clearly, to create clearly, not for the sake of appearance, but for the sake of understanding. Because when clarity is present, people can respond. And when people respond, things begin to change. A generation of clear voices does not add to the noise, it reduces it. And in doing so, it makes space for what truly matters to be heard and understood. Chapter 15: Conviction over Noise. There is a tension that defines our time. On one side, there is noise, constant, relentless, demanding attention. It rewards speed, volume, and visibility. It invites you to speak often, react quickly, and remain present at all times. It measures success by how much you are seen. On the other hand, there is conviction, quiet, steady, and deliberate. It is not concerned with how often you speak, but with what you are saying. It is not driven by visibility, but by truth. It does not rush. It does not react. It remains grounded. Every communicator must choose between these two: noise or conviction. Noise is easy to follow. It tells you to keep producing, to stay relevant, to say something, even when there is nothing meaningful to say. It encourages repetition without reflection, expression without depth. And because it is everywhere, it becomes normal. You begin to believe that constant activity equals progress, that visibility equals value, that attention equals impacts. But this is not always true. Attention can be gained without understanding. Visibility can exist without trust. Activity can continue without direction. Noise creates the appearance of movement, but not always the substance of it. Conviction is different. Conviction is rooted in understanding. It comes from knowing what you believe, why you believe it, and what you are responsible for communicating. It does not require constant expression. It requires accurate expression. A person operating from conviction does not feel the need to speak at all times. They speak when there is something to say. And when they speak, it carries weight because it is clear, because it is intentional, because it is grounded in truth. This is what separates conviction from noise. There is a cost to choosing noise. Over time, it weakens clarity. When you speak constantly, without reflection, your message becomes diluted. The essential is buried under the unnecessary. The important is mixed with the irrelevant. And eventually, people stop distinguishing between what matters and what does not. Everything begins to feel the same. This is how meaning is lost. There is also a deeper consequence. When communication is driven by attention rather than truth, it begins to shift. The focus moves from what is accurate to what is appealing, from what is necessary to what is popular. This introduces compromise. You begin to adjust your message to fit what is expected. You shape your communication based on what will be received quickly rather than what needs to be understood deeply. And in this process, clarity is reduced because clarity requires alignment with truth, not with preference. This is where conviction becomes essential. Conviction anchors you. It gives you a standard that is not dependent on external response. It allows you to remain consistent even when attention is not immediate. It enables you to communicate with purpose rather than pressure. This aligns with your conviction doctrine. In your work, you emphasize that communication should not be driven by reaction, but by principle. That the goal is not to be seen, but to be understood. That clarity is not a tactic, but a standard. This is what conviction produces. It creates a stable foundation from which communication flows. Conviction also introduces restraint. It allows you to say no. No to unnecessary expression. No to distractions that pull you away from your purpose. No to the pressure to remain constantly visible. This restraint is not limitation. It is focus. Because when you are clear about what matters, you do not need to respond to everything. You remain aligned. There is also a relationship between conviction and clarity. Conviction clarifies what you stand for. It defines your message. It shapes your communication. Without conviction, clarity becomes unstable. Your message changes depending on the situation. Your expression shifts based on what is expected. Your communication becomes inconsistent. But with conviction, clarity becomes consistent. What you say aligns with what you believe. What you communicate reflects what you stand for. There is no need for adjustment based on external pressure. This is what builds trust. Choosing conviction over noise also changes your pace. You begin to slow down, not in a way that reduces progress, but in a way that increases precision. You take time to think, to refine, to ensure that what you are communicating is clear and necessary. This may appear less active, but it is more effective because what is communicated carries weight. There is a question that must be asked. Why are you communicating? Is it to be seen or is it to be understood? Is it to gain attention or is it to communicate truth? Your answer to this question will shape everything. Because if the goal is attention, noise will seem attractive. But if the goal is understanding, conviction becomes necessary. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your communication are you responding to noise? Where are you speaking out of pressure rather than purpose? Where might your message be diluted by unnecessary expression? These are important considerations because clarity requires alignment, and alignment requires conviction. Conviction does not eliminate communication. It refines it. It ensures that what you say matters, that what you produce is intentional, that what you communicate is clear. It removes what is unnecessary and strengthens what is essential. In a world driven by noise, conviction becomes a distinguishing factor. It allows your message to stand, not because it is louder, but because it is clearer. It creates consistency. It builds trust. It produces understanding. And over time, it leads to impacts. Do not chase attention. Pursue truth. Do not speak constantly. Speak clearly. Do not follow noise. Stand in conviction. Because when communication is rooted in conviction, it does not need to compete. It is understood. Chapter 16. The Mandate. At this point, everything has been said, but something must now be done. Because clarity is not an idea to admire. It is a responsibility to live. This is the difference between understanding and application. You can agree with everything that has been written. You can recognize the importance of clarity. You can even see where confusion has affected your life, your work, and your communication. But if nothing changes, then nothing changes. Clarity must move from thoughts into action. This is the mandate: to live with clarity, to speak with clarity, to create with clarity, not occasionally, but consistently. Not when it is convenient, but when it is necessary. Because clarity is not situational, it is foundational. To live with clarity means to be aligned. It means knowing what you are about, knowing what matters, knowing what you are responsible for. It means removing what is unnecessary and focusing on what is essential. It means making decisions from understanding, not confusion. When clarity is present in your life, there is direction. Not because everything is known, but because what is known is clear enough to move forward. This reduces distraction. It reduces hesitation. It strengthens focus. And over time, it produces consistency. To speak with clarity means to take responsibility of how your words are received. It means not assuming understanding, but ensuring it. It means choosing simplicity over unnecessary complexity. It means communicating in a way that others can grasp, follow, and respond to. This requires effort. It requires thinking before speaking. It requires structuring your ideas. It requires refining your message until it can be understood. Because speaking is not the goal, understanding is. To create with clarity means that what you produce is not only made, but understood. It means that your work communicates its value, that your message is visible, that your intention is not hidden. It means asking whether what you have created can be received by others, whether its meaning is clear, whether its purpose is evident, because creation is not complete until it is understood. This mandate is not about perfection, it is about direction. You will not always be clear. There will be moments of confusion. There will be times when your communication is not as effective as it could be. But the commitment remains to pursue clarity, to refine it, to improve it, because clarity is developed over time. There is also a deeper dimension to this. Clarity is not something you achieve on your own. It is something you align with. Because as scripture reminds us, God is not the author of confusion. This means that clarity reflects his nature. And to pursue clarity is to move toward alignment with him. This is why clarity must be surrendered, not in the sense of giving up responsibility, but in the sense of recognizing its source. You seek clarity, you practice clarity, but you also depend on God for clarity. Because there are things you cannot see on your own. There are areas where understanding is limited. There are moments where direction is not immediately obvious. In those moments, surrender becomes necessary. To surrender clarity to God means to invite Him into your thinking, your decisions, and your communication. It means asking for understanding. It means being open to correction. It means allowing your perspective to be shaped by truth. It is not passive, it is active alignment. Because clarity is not only about what you say, it is about how you see. This brings everything together: clarity in life, clarity in communication, clarity in creation. All of it flows from alignment with truth, with purpose, and with God. When this alignment is present, things begin to change. Your thinking becomes more focused. Your communication becomes more effective. Your actions become more intentional. And over time, your impact becomes clearer. This is the final charge. Do not return to confusion. Do not accept misunderstanding as normal. Do not hide complexity. Do not allow noise to shape your communication. Choose clarity in how you think, in how you speak, in how you create. Because clarity is not just about you. It affects those who listen. It affects those who follow. It affects those who depend on what you communicate. This is why it matters. Take a moment to consider this. What will change after this? Will you continue as before, aware but unchanged? Or will you begin to apply what you now understand? This is the decision. Because clarity is not something that happens automatically. It is something that is chosen. The mandate is simple: live clearly, speak clearly, create clearly, and surrender it all to God. Because when clarity is aligned with truth, it produces understanding. And when understanding is present, response becomes possible. And when response happens, things begin to change. This is the work. This is the responsibility, and this is the mandate.